Hey, listen, man, let me tell y'all something. I heard TVP talking about doing a video on bottle service in Vegas. Let me just go ahead and keep it all the way 100 with y'all, man. Bottle service in Las Vegas is a scam. It is a straight money grab. It is a finesse. They gonna tell you you got a minimum that you gotta spend, and it's how much it's gonna cost you. And then at the very end of the night, once you done already spent your minimum, all of a sudden your bill gonna be $1,000 or a few $100s more than what they told y'all. And don't get me started on these bottle prices in Vegas. How a bottle of $30 Ciroc in the store in the club cost you $700? That's like a 3,000% interest increase in the club. Listen, bro, we have a good time, but it's an automatic money grab, man. And nah, don't fall for them traps, man. Bottle service in Vegas is a scam.
As y'all heard from my client, today we're going to talk about bottle service. I'm going to talk to you all about what bottle service is or what table service is. We're going to talk about the pricing. We'll talk about everything that's included in your table reservation. We'll talk about the difference between booking through a host and booking online. And I'll give you some tips on when you should book or when you shouldn't book. We'll talk about the pros and cons of getting bottle service or why you shouldn't even get bottle service. And then I'll give you all some tips to make sure that you all have a great time if you do decide to get bottle service and you don't end up like my client did at the end of the night, who had a great time, whether you want to believe it or not. He just didn't fully want to listen to his host. And at the very end, learn what happens when you try to do things your way instead of letting someone who knows the game give you game and look out for you and your group. So let's go ahead and talk about bottle service. So what is bottle service or what is table service? What is the difference between the two? They're basically the same thing. You may hear more people in the industry referencing it as table service or getting a table, but ultimately what it is just reserving a section in the club. So depending on where you are in the club will determine what your minimum is, and your minimum is what you have to spend in order to...
Nah, don't tell everybody it's no minimum spend or this the minimum you got to spend. Let them know this the baseline for this table, but you gonna go over the minimum spend. You're not gonna hit that minimum. They gonna make sure they upsell you, hit you for all them extra fees. So when that bill come out, you over $1,000 what you thought you was gonna spend.
Depending on the section that you reserve in the club, that will basically determine what your minimum spend is. So the closer you are to the stage, just to simplify everything, the closer you are to the stage, the higher the minimum will be, and more than likely the bigger your section will be. And then the further you are away from the club, the lower your minimum will be, and the smaller your table may be. So if you're in a club that has like an upstairs or an outside area, or if they have both, that's where your lower minimums are going to be, either outside or upstairs. And then if you're downstairs and closer, your minimums are going to be higher, but the tables will more than likely be bigger as well. So what's included with the price? What comes with bottle service? Or if you're reserving a table, what is everything that comes with it? What should you be looking to spend? So let's start off with the first thing that comes with bottle service or table service is entry into the club. So some people wonder if you reserve a table, if you also have to pay to get in. Absolutely not.
Nope.
That is the first thing that is covered is entry for the entire group. Your entry is covered, and a lot of people may not know this, but let's say you book a table and you've got up to 6 people that can come in your group, but only 4 or 5 people are ready to walk into the club because you got that one straggler that's got a hangover or is just taking forever to get their hair done or their fit just not looking right. All of y'all can go in the club, and whenever they decide to come to the club, just give them the table number. Their entry will also be covered because they're a part of your group, and they can just come on upstairs and enjoy the party. So depending on the table that you reserve, that will also determine how many people can actually come in your group or come to your table. So the minimum is typically 4 to 6 people when you start at a smaller table. And then once you get the bigger tables, it's typically up to 12 people. Or if you get a box in certain clubs, you can bring 15 people with you. It all just depends on what you reserve. This is exactly why you should also talk to a host so you know what you're reserving, but I'll save that for the later topic. Your minimum is what your group has to spend for that section. So the standard will be $1,000 minimum at the major clubs. If you go to a lounge, you can find a $500 minimum. You can find minimums from $300 sometimes, depending on the night. It just all depends on where you go. That will get you a bottle. When you look at taxes and gratuity, you'll be looking at about $1,400 total. So if you're thinking about getting a table, plan for $1,000 minimum at the standard. This will typically get 6 people in the club, and that'll be your total for that. But what a lot of people don't realize is, and this is one reason why I wanted to make this video, your taxes and gratuity are all based on the total that you spend at the table. So just because you have $1,000 minimum and you decide you want to spend $1,200 or $1,300 to get an extra bottle instead of just ordering stuff up to that $1,000 minimum, your taxes will be taxed on the total that you spent, not what your minimum was in your agreement. But don't think that the difference that you go over will be the difference at the end. The taxes is totally different from $1,000 to $1,500. Y'all can do the math on taxes and you'll see the big difference. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. You also have security for the night. I think a lot of people take this for granted. I did a $20 tip video a while ago about tipping for an upgrade. For my guys, let me give y'all a quick pro tip. Tip your security $20. If you're going out through the night and you see some girls and you want to get the girls, security might look out for you. If they know y'all cool people and they see something, they might step out their way just because you tipped them. They'd be like, hey, y'all want to come and chill at this table, or I got some people over here. They might be your wingman. People sleep on security. Or if you got some people in your group that you just met and you want to get them out or whatever, you can go talk to security and security will come and get rid of them for you, especially if you're the head of the table. They come with your table. And then last but not least, you get a waitress and you get a bottle service girl. So the chick that asks you what bottles you want to get, that's going to be your waitress for the night, and she's your waitress throughout the night. That's also included with bottle service. Now, you do get to sit down as well. You'll have your own couch or table or section, depending on what you book. But a lot of people, from what I've heard in other areas, their waitresses don't pour their drinks throughout the whole night. They'll bring them a bottle and just move on. In Vegas, the waitress is going to come through and check on everybody. She'll pour y'all shots. She'll make y'all drinks. They're going to make sure that y'all have a good time. So all of that is included in bottle service. All right, now let's talk about actually booking bottle service. Should you use a host? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of you hear about booking with a host all of the time. Or should you just go to the site directly and book directly through the club? Like, does it really make a difference? Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let me give y'all inside game from a guy who's been an independent host for years now in the Vegas space. Booking with the host is
a host. But what does it matter if you book with a host? Booking is booking. Whether a host book with you or whether you go to the club website directly and book, it don't matter. Booking is booking. That's what they always tell you. Book with a host, like a host gonna plug you. Man, that booking with a host thing don't matter at all. It's just a table.
The first thing that I always tell everybody is always book with a host. So let's just start by booking directly through the club. If you decide to go to the website and you decide you want to go to Dre's or you want to go to Omni and you just book directly through the website, you most definitely can. You'll see the prices that they have online, and then that's going to be your section for the night. So if you don't know what you're booking and you're just booking anything, you're going to just get whatever you reserve. And a lot of times things that you see online is just best availability. You'll see it in the agreements. It'll tell you you'll be assigned upon check-in. So if you try to book like a back wall table and there's a whole bunch of tables on the back wall, but this one right here is closer to the stage and this back wall is further away, a host is going to get their clients closer to the stage who book with them that back wall versus people who go on the website and book a back wall. They're going to get the furthest one away because hosts are always going to take care of their people, which is why we always say book with a host. Y'all ever want to get bottle service, y'all already know, hit me on Instagram. Y'all can shoot me email. I always take care of my clients for bottle service. But hosts do things on the back end that a lot of people don't understand. So all of those people who booked on the website, they're going to get the worst tables that are there. All of the people who book with a host, they can go in the back end and be like, I got a client who booked. They know the table numbers at the club. They can talk to the people at the clubs and they can go ahead and make sure you get assigned those best available tables. And I'm not going to give y'all all the sauce because I'm not going to ruin the industry secrets and stuff, but I just want to put out there the impacts that a host can have. I've had a lot of clients who've gone to Vegas with me and I've booked tables, and when we got to the club, we got surprised with things that I didn't even know that they did because at the end of the day, as a host, we get paid by y'all booking through us. It's a commission for us, just like any other sales job. When they sell y'all a product and y'all book, they get paid a commission. But not only is it a commission, we want y'all to be repeat clients. We want y'all to keep coming back to Vegas and booking with us. The pros and cons of bottle service. Why should you get bottle service? Why shouldn't you get bottle service? Like, what is so good? What's worth the money? What's not worth the money? I'm pretty sure a lot of you
talking about the pros and cons. Yeah, the pro is you gonna get them paid at the club. The con is you gonna get finessed at the end. You think you gonna have a great time, and you might have a good time, but it's gonna come in at an extremely high cost of having a good time. That's gonna be your pros and cons. That's the real pros and cons.
Pretty sure a lot of you who've thought about getting a table have probably wondered if it's worth it, if it's not worth it. So let's talk about the good and bad. And I'll just keep it real simple for you. Let's start with the cons. The cons of bottle service is the price. That's really the true only con of bottle service. If the price for a section for a particular night is too expensive or it's out of your price point, that's going to be the biggest con. You're going to spend money that you either may not have or that you may not want to spend. And then even if you do spend it, let's say you decide to book last minute and you don't get the best section or you don't get the best area and you're further away, so you don't really get that full experience that you want, that could really be the con. And that happens a lot of times with people. Is just, unfortunate depending on the timing. But let's talk about all the pros. Let's start for the feet hurting people. The pro number one is you have somewhere to sit down in the clubs. If y'all have been in the clubs in Vegas, or even if you've been to some of the busier lounges in Vegas, it can get very, very active, very busy, and a lot of people just want somewhere to sit down and relax. But if you don't have a table, if you ain't got bottle service, there's nowhere to sit down. The second pro of having bottle service is you just have your own area, your own space. Let's say you want to go to the dance floor and have a good time. You go out to the dance floor, y'all having a good time, but when you leave the dance floor, now you want to have somewhere to go and relax. You have your own table to do so. You can go back and forth as much as you want all throughout the night. You also have your own place of security and protection. So for those of you who have items that y'all want to just leave in the club, like let's say you bring a person there, you have stuff that you want to leave stashed, you can leave all that stashed at the table. Security gonna make sure nobody comes in and out y'all area. Granted, I'm not saying you should leave stuff in the club and leave stuff unattained. I'm not saying that things can't just happen. Like, I'm just being honest with y'all. Like, nobody's perfect. But if you do want to be able to have a place where you can leave stuff, you can leave it in your section, and that's why you have security. Like, let's look at for ladies, for example. Y'all don't want to be bothered by guys throughout the night. Y'all want to have your own space and your own area to turn up and have a good time. Y'all don't got to worry about being bothered, because nobody's finna come holler at y'all or waste their time getting at y'all and shit in bottle service. And if they do security, you get rid of them. So it definitely gives you a peace of mind for privacy if you just want to go out and have a good time. The next pro that I want to talk about is the experience of having table service and popping bottles in the club. When I talk about experience, it's
the experience. Oh, I know I ain't hearing nobody talk about the experience of bottle service. Oh, the experience of having a big credit card statement, and then you got to make a payment, and that experience of logging into your account, making that credit card payment. Oh yeah, that's such an experience. I can't wait to pay a couple thousand for something I didn't think was gonna be but a few $100s. Yeah, that's such a great experience. All right.
This dude is impossible, man. Well, you keep interjecting in my video, so how about we go ahead and talk about this? You keep saying bottle service is a scam, you got finesse, you got played. So let's go ahead and talk about this, man. First question to you is, did you get what you paid for?
Did I get what I paid for? Yes, I got what I paid for. I ordered bottles, and I got my bottles, and I got a real big ticket at the end of the night too. I sure did.
I understand at the end of the night you had a big ticket or you paid more than you wanted to pay for, but if you're gonna keep calling this a scam and saying you got finesse, we got to break this down, because some people, you know, in today's society take everything literal. But I can't be out here as somebody promoting the city, like advocating or having a client out here this upset saying that they got scammed and finesse, because now y'all gonna start messing around with our money, and that's not good business for anybody. So I just wanted to get clarity on all of these things. You said you got what you paid for, right?
Yes, if we being technical, yes, I got what I paid for. I ordered a couple bottles, I got a couple bottles. And I also don't skip out on that tab at the end. You overlooking that tab. That tab ain't pretty when you expecting to pay a certain price, and it's hundreds to maybe 1,000 more than what you pay at the end. We normal working people at the end of the day. Don't be skipping over on that.
No, I'm not skipping over that at all. I completely understand you had a big ticket. You had 1,000 minimum. Y'all went a little bit over, so you wasn't expecting that end total to be extra. But you know, as I said, once you raise that minimum, your taxes go up. So I'm not trying to skip over that at all, but I just don't want you out here claiming that you got scammed and finesse, you know, especially when we try to look out for our clients. So we got that out the way. My next question is, did you book with a host in advance, or did you book the night of? Like, how did you book?
No, I didn't book with a host in advance. We decided to get bottle service the night of, so I found one of the hosts at the club, and they got us a table.
All right, so you didn't book with a host. So booking the night of means you got to take what's there. It's almost as bad as booking online, but it's better because a host at the club can let you know what's available. They'll give you the best options, and a host gonna look out for you regardless. But if you wait until the night of and it's a big event and people already booked their tables, or hosting already got their other people taken care of, like, how can you be scammed or finessed out of that? Like, or how can you even be mad at that? You know, and I even tell you and everybody else, like, book as far as advanced as possible. But you said you want to wait to the last minute, so that's just what happens. You can't really be mad at us because you wanted to wait to the last minute, and that was all that was available.
Okay, booking with a host in advance could give me okay, sure, all right, I hear you.
Yeah, booking with a host in advance, we always gonna look out for you, and we'll always know what's going on up to date to get you in the best position the night of the event. Now, in regards to your minimum, you was talking about having to pay this big ticket. Did you ask the server, like, hey, this is my minimum right here. I know I got 1,000 minimum. I don't really want to go over my 1,000 minimum. Can you tell me what my options are? Like, what are my bottle options? Or if I decide to get this $700-800 bottle that you keep saying you don't like the price of, that still give you $200. Did you ask the server, like, what else can I do so that I get to my minimum but not go over?
No, I didn't ask the server what was in my minimum range, because I know how to do math. If I got 1,000 minimum, I got to spend $1,000. So I was like, all right, well, none of these bottles is right at 1,000, or the ones that's right at 1,000 is just gonna probably be one bottle. So we want to try to get our money's worth. So ain't nothing wrong with spending a couple $100 extra. If it's 1,000 and the bottle's gonna come to 1,200, I ain't no problem with that. I ain't need to ask a server that, because I can do math. But I wasn't expecting a couple $100 to take me 1,000 over at the end of the night. That's insane.
Nah, I know you know how to do math. I'm not trying to say you don't know how to do math at all. What I'm saying is, a lot of people think because they got a minimum, if you go a little bit over the minimum, you just add that at the end, and that's not how it works at all. Like, your taxes is based on how much you spend. The minimum is just your baseline requirement. And like you've been saying before, yeah, of course people would typically go over, because it's kind of like, if we got 1,000 minimum, but we can get 2 bottles for $1,250 or $1,300, it's just $250, $300. But that's not what you add at the end. And a lot of people think that you just add that extra at the end. No, that's going to raise your taxes. But yeah, you could have just asked the server. And a lot of times I tell people, if you want to stay at your minimum, the servers will be like, all right, well, you can get this bottle and just get a couple extra waters, or throw a couple Red Bulls. So if you're like 850 and you need that extra 100, 150, those waters and Red Bull can get you to your minimum so that you don't go over. Like, did you ask her about that, or did they even recommend that to you?
Nah, I didn't actually sit back to think to be like, let's get a bottle and some waters to stay at them. No, I didn't think about that. I mean, I guess that's smart, but I mean, $1,000, $1,000. I do bottle service at my local city. What anybody can order a bottle or two. That's normally like $300. But y'all talking about some $650 for a bottle. I got 1,000 minimum. May as well just get 2 bottles, pay a couple $100 extra.
No, I feel that 100%, and I do that all the time. I get that 100%. I get why you frustrated, but to say you being scammed and finessed, man, that's not a good look, because people gonna take that more literal. People gonna take you saying you got scammed and finessed, they gonna take that with a stronger grain of salt than you being like, man, I had the best time ever in Vegas. Most people, I'm like, all right, that's cool, I'm glad to hear that. But you saying you got scammed and finessed, people, I'm like, whoa, wait, what? Hold on, explain this to me, because I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do bottle service. So you could also just say you didn't know. Just say I didn't know, and now I know, you know what I mean? And that's also why I wanted to do this video, because you're not the only person who's been in this situation.
Nah, I hear you, bro. I hear everything you saying, and I make note of this going forward. You know, I ain't really trying to get y'all a bad rep. I'm just speaking from somebody who went through this and wasn't really happy with my end result. Because, you know, y'all make it seem like it's one way, but then it ended up being a totally different way at the end of the night. So I can only speak on my experience, but you're right. I didn't do all of the things you said, or I didn't take the different approaches. So I guess it's a learning lesson for me also. Because I ain't want them to think I ain't had no money. I ain't want them to think I couldn't have paid a couple extra dollars. Like, I ain't that broke, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't think if I'd have known a couple $100 extra was gonna lead to 1,000 at the end of the night, then I'd have just stayed at my minimum. So, you know what I mean? Lesson learned. Like, fair enough. I won't keep saying y'all finessing or scamming people, but that's what it felt like, you know, when you got to make that payment at the end of the night. It feel like you got finessed when you was not expecting to pay what you paid.
Yeah, no doubt. I hear exactly what you're saying, man. And that's why I'm glad we was able to talk about this, because I don't want you or anybody thinking that hosting the industry trying to finesse. You know, I've been there before. You think a couple $100 over won't translate to a few $100 or maybe 1,000 extra. Like, I've been there. But at the end of the day, man, we want y'all to have a good time. We want to make sure y'all go to Vegas. Y'all clearly understand what y'all paying for, but y'all have a great time. So y'all come back and spend that money again, you know. But hopefully you all enjoyed this video. If you all enjoyed this video and felt like this video gave you some value, or if you found some type of entertainment in this video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching.